The story begins in a world where magic decides everything. Everyone is born with a mark on their face that shows their ability to use spells. Those without a mark are considered failures who don't belong. Far away from the city, in a quiet forest, a young man named Burnedead lives with his adoptive father, Regro. Unlike everyone else, Mash has no magic mark. To survive in this world, Regro has taught him to stay hidden and never draw attention. Instead of practicing magic, Mash spends every day training his body. His strength is so incredible that he can bend iron weights with ease. His other obsession is cream puffs, which he bakes and eats constantly. One day, against Regro's warnings, Mash sneaks into the city to buy cream puffs. His unusual behavior quickly draws stares, and rumors spread about a suspicious boy without a mark. That same night, their home is raided by Brad Coleman, a member of the city's magical police. Brad threatens Regro and demands Mash come with him. But when Brad attacks, Mash does the impossible. He blocks and deflects Brad's spells with pure strength. Realizing Mash's power, Brad doesn't kill him. Instead, he makes him an offer. Mash must enroll in Easton Magic Academy and aim to become a divine visionary, one of the highest-ranked mages in the country. If Mash succeeds, society will accept him, and Regro will be safe. Mash doesn't care about honor or magic, but to protect his father and their peaceful life, he accepts. And so begins the story of Burnedead, a boy with no magic, in a world where magic is everything. Mash arrives at Easton Magic Academy to take the entrance exams. The first test is a written exam, but the questions move around the paper through magic, making it difficult for most applicants. Mash casually holds the paper steady with his strength and completes it without issue. The next challenge is a magical maze filled with traps and monsters. Inside, Mash meets Lemon Irvine, a nervous girl who asks to team up. She quickly reveals her true intentions by trying to trap Mash inside the maze with magic ropes. But when she's attacked by a monster, Mash easily saves her, and she realizes he's not the kind of person she thought. At the end of the maze, a giant wall blocks the path to the goal. While the other students struggle with spells, Mash simply smashes through it with brute force and finishes the exam. For the final part of the test, Mash and the other candidates face an interview before the school's leaders, including Headmaster Wahlberg. To test him, one examiner casts a spell that binds a doll linked to Regro's life. If the doll is destroyed, Regro will die. Mash desperately tries to stop it, even injuring himself in the process. His determination convinces Wahlberg that Mash has the qualities of a true student. Mash is officially accepted into Easton Magic Academy, and he also meets his new roommate, Finn Ames, who seems like an ordinary, kind student. Mash's journey as a student of magic, despite having none, has now begun. At Easton Magic Academy, classes begin. In the first lesson, students must show their skill at flying broomsticks. Everyone else soars into the air with ease, but Mash can't use magic at all. Instead, he crushes the broom handle in frustration and shocks everyone by simply jumping on it and forcing it to rise with sheer strength, even setting a new record height. Later, Mash and Finn encounter Lloyd, an arrogant upperclassman from a noble family. Lloyd immediately targets them, mocking Finn and threatening Mash. Finn warns Mash to avoid trouble, since nobles like Lloyd have power and connections. But Mash refuses to ignore injustice. When Lloyd tries to bully Finn, Mash effortlessly humiliates him, tossing his magic aside and physically overpowering him. Things escalate when Lloyd complains to the vice principal, Farman, who tries to punish Mash. Farman protects Lloyd because of his status and orders Mash expelled. Before Mash can be forced out, Headmaster Wahlberg arrives. He stops the punishment and declares that the academy should not protect bullies just because of their rank. Wahlberg makes it clear that Mash will stay, but he also reminds him that to achieve his goal of becoming a divine visionary, he must earn coins and prove himself through results. Mash's quiet determination begins to draw attention from both allies and enemies within the academy. At Easton, a friendly but competitive sport called duello is about to begin. It's played on broomsticks with two dorms facing off against each other. Mash is invited to join the Adler dorm team, though he doesn't fully understand the rules. Once the game starts, the Lang dorm team quickly dominates with powerful spells. Mash, who can't fly normally, launches himself into the air using brute force. The crowd is stunned as he leaps across the field, smashes through obstacles, and even slams the ball with impossible power. Thanks to his overwhelming strength, Adler manages to win against Lang. But Mash's display doesn't go unnoticed. After the game, a top student named Lance Crown confronts him. Lance is confident, calculating, and reveals his extraordinary skill with gravity magic. He captures Finn, Lemon, and even a fellow student inside a magical bottle, forcing Mash to fight him. The two clash. Lance uses crushing gravity spells to pin Mash down, but Mash resists with raw muscle, tearing through the pressure. Lance is shocked to see his attacks countered so easily. In the middle of the battle, Lance explains his motive. He wants to become a divine visionary, so he can save his little sister, whose life is threatened by the rules of their society. Mash acknowledges his resolve, but refuses to lose. With a powerful strike, he defeats Lance and shatters the bottle, freeing his friends. Instead of anger, Lance is impressed, and he recognizes Mash's strength. Before leaving, he even gives Mash a silver coin, a symbol of progress toward becoming a divine visionary. Mash's reputation grows once again, and both allies and rivals now see him as someone who can't be ignored. Mash's daily life at Easton takes a turn when he meets Dot Barrett, a brash and hot-headed student who is quick to pick fights. Dot immediately sees Mash as plain and unimpressive, and he loudly declares himself Mash's rival. The two argue constantly, but their clash is more comic than serious, as Mash mostly ignores Dot's antics. Their rivalry doesn't last long before real trouble appears. While wandering the academy grounds, Dot and Mash run into students from Lang dorm, a group known for tormenting others. The Lang students insult Dot and provoke him into fighting, easily overpowering him with their magic. Despite his fiery temper, Dot quickly finds himself on the losing side. Just as the bullies are about to humiliate him further, Mash steps in. Calmly and without hesitation, he takes the attacks meant for Dot and counters them with sheer strength. Spells that would terrify normal students mean nothing to him. Mash's overwhelming power forces the Langdor students to retreat, leaving everyone stunned at how easily he handled the situation. At first, Dot is embarrassed that Mash had to save him, but he slowly begins to respect Mash's strength and loyalty. Even with his loud mouth and short temper, Dot begins to fit in with Mash, Finn, and Lemon. What started as rivalry becomes the beginning of a new friendship. And for the first time, Mash's small group begins to feel like a true team. Mash accidentally stumbles into the hideout of Magia Lupus, the elite members of Langdorm. Their leader, Abel Walker, confronts him and asks why he wants to become a divine visionary. Mash answers simply that he just wants a peaceful life with his father. Abel dismisses his dream, declaring the strong have the right to rule over the weak, and attacks by turning students into lifeless puppets. Mash resists Abel's control, even freeing Silva from his puppet form, but in the scuffle, his gold coin is stolen. Abel lets Mash go for now, but his philosophy of strength versus weakness lingers in Mash's mind. After taking Silva to the infirmary, Mash rejoins his friends, while Abel begins plotting to take Adler's remaining coins. Back at Adler dorm, Lemon shows the group the magic scale, which tracks coin counts. Lang has already gained 15 gold coins, while Adler has only 1. Realizing they're falling behind, Lance and Dot agree with Mash that they need to act before Lang's power grows too great. Soon after, Mash is punished by Headmaster Wahlberg for barging into Langdorm and is ordered to clean the owl hut. Lance accompanies him, but during their chore, they're ambushed by Magia Lupus members Olor and Answer. Olor traps Mash in a sea of water, transforming into a shark,
while Answer bombards Lance with giant shurikens. Despite the disadvantage, Mash swims at impossible speed and pummels Olore, while Lance uses his gravity magic to crush Answer's shuriken attacks. Just as the battles end, Abyss Razor appears. He observes Mash's unnatural strength and vanishes, leaving a warning that Magia Lupus is now paying close attention to Adler.
Meanwhile, Lemon presents Mash with a good luck charm, a cream puff-shaped trinket, hoping it will keep him safe during the upcoming challenges. Later, Mash and his friends discover that several students, including Tom, have mysteriously lost their magical abilities. Tom describes a strange dream where he was trapped in a box and upon waking found himself in the infirmary with no recollection of how he lost his magic. Lemon, concerned for her friends, urges them to stay vigilant. That night, Mash, Lance, Dot, and Finn explored the school grounds to uncover the source of the magical drain. They encounter a puppet version of Lemon, leading them to a hidden underground arena. There, they meet Shuin Getsuku, a member of the third fang of Magia Lupus, who challenges them to a duel, demanding they wager their coins to proceed. Dot steps forward to face Shuin, driven by a personal vendetta against his good looks. Despite Shuin's confident demeanor, Dot employs a clever strategy to defeat him, showcasing his growth and determination. With Shuin defeated, the group proceeds deeper into the arena. Inside, they are separated and confronted by various members of Magia Lupus. Mash encounters Abyss Razor once again, who reveals that he is aware of Mash's lack of magical ability, but respects his strength. As tensions rise, the episode sets the stage for the impending battles between Adler Dorm and Magia Lupus.
With Magia Lupus's lair exposed, the battles intensify. Separated from the others, Lance comes face to face with Worth Model, the third fang of Langdorm. Worth uses his mud magic to create clones and trap Lance's movements, taunting him for siding with Adler when his talent could shine brighter elsewhere. Lance refuses to be swayed. He recalls his promise to protect his younger sister, the reason he fights, and pushes past Worth's mud restraints. Using his gravity magic, he crushes Worth's defenses and overwhelms him, leaving the third fang defeated on the ground. Meanwhile, Mash is confronted by Abyss Razor, the second fang. At first, Abyss dominates the fight with blinding speed and shadow attacks. Mash takes heavy hits, but when Abyss unmasks, he reveals the cursed Evil Eye, a trait that cancels all magic and left him scorned by everyone except Abel. To gain the upper hand, Abyss activates his Accelerate's second, creating a force field that slows Mash's movements while boosting his own speed. For a moment, it looks like Mash is cornered, but Mash adapts, smashing the ground to restrict Abyss's movement and closing in with raw strength. With a final blow, Mash defeats Abyss. Lying on the ground, Abyss admits the pain of his past, but warns Mash that Abel's power is far greater. Mash, unfazed, says he intends to fight him anyway. The stage is now set for Adler to clash directly with Magia. After Mash and Lance secure their victories, Dot and Finn make their way deeper into the hidden chamber of Langdorm. Waiting for them is the fifth fang, Lovecute, whose twisted sense of charm makes the atmosphere unsettling from the start. She forces the boys to declare how cute she is, and when they hesitate, she lashes out with rapid, piercing spells. Her attacks come fast and with precision, and Dot's usual hot-headedness puts both of them at a disadvantage. Love doesn't just rely on magic. She toys with them mentally, mocking Finn's timid nature and Dot's loud bravado. Each taunt cuts as sharply as her attacks, pushing them further into a corner. Finn tries to shield Dot, but he's quickly overpowered. It seems like Love is only getting started, her sadistic joy growing as she dominates them. But Dot's temper finally erupts. A glowing cross appears on his forehead, Ira Kreutz, a rare trait that dramatically amplifies his magic when angered. The timid boy from before is gone, With sheer ferocity, Dot unleashes a storm of explosive spells, blasting through Love's defenses and turning her confidence into fear. His machine gun explome hammers her relentlessly until she collapses, completely defeated. For the first time, Dot's hidden potential is revealed, showing that beneath his goofy exterior lies terrifying power. Before they can even celebrate, danger returns in the form of the fourth fang, Milo Genius. Using stone magic, Milo summons crushing boulders and walls that trap the two exhausted boys. Dot, drained after using Ira Kreutz, can barely stand, and Finn desperately tries to hold the line but is quickly overwhelmed. The pressure is unbearable until a calm, commanding voice cuts through the chaos. Rain Ames, Lance's older brother and a divine visionary, arrives. His presence shifts the entire battlefield. With cold precision, Rain slices apart Milo's stone constructs and dismantles his attacks in an instant, forcing him into retreat. The gap between Magia Lupus and a true visionary is laid bare. For Dot and Finn, it's a narrow escape, but also a turning point. The fight has drawn in powers far greater than they ever imagined, and Magia Lupus's reign of fear is starting to crumble.
With his fangs defeated one by one, the leader of Magia Lupus, Abel Walker, finally steps forward. Surrounded by the students he has turned into puppets, Abel embodies everything MASH despises, the belief that the weak exist only to serve the strong. He mocks Adler Dorm and declares that only those born with superior magic have the right to rule. MASH, standing calmly in front of him, doesn't waver. He repeats the same simple wish he's carried all along, to live peacefully with his father. Abel sees that answer as foolish and unleashes his magic. With precise gestures, he commands his puppets to attack in unison, their combined strength threatening to crush MASH under sheer numbers. But MASH tears through them as if they're made of paper, each puppet smashed apart by raw muscle. Abel escalates, fusing his creations together into grotesque, larger constructs. They tower over MASH, striking with brutal force, but nothing lands. With unbelievable speed and timing, MASH dismantles them one after another, reducing Abel's strongest puppets to rubble. Growing frustrated, Abel calls forth his most powerful creation yet, a massive armored puppet brimming with destructive power. The giant unleashes a flurry of blows, shaking the chamber. For a moment it seems unstoppable, until MASH flips the momentum, ripping off its arm and using it as a weapon before finishing the construct in one decisive strike. Shaken by defeat, Abel demands to know how someone without magic could surpass him. MASH doesn't give him a grand speech. He simply states that real strength is about protecting what matters, not ruling over others. With that, Abel collapses, the once feared leader of Magia Lupus brought down, and Adler Dorm finally turns the tide of the coin battle.
With Abel defeated, Adler Dorm finally breathes a sigh of relief, but the calm doesn't last long. News spreads that the academy itself is under attack. An intruder from outside has infiltrated the grounds. A hooded figure named Selwar, a member of the criminal group Innocent Zero, appears, his power far greater than anything the students have faced so far. Sel makes his intentions clear. He's come for MASH. With a single spell, he paralyzes students and overwhelms the area, casually displaying magic on a level no student could hope to resist. Even Abel, battered but still proud, tries to stand against him, only to be swept aside effortlessly. For the first time, MASH is facing an enemy not bound by school rivalries, but by something far darker. MASH steps forward, refusing to back down. Sel hurls devastating spells, summoning blades and waves of destructive magic, but MASH charges straight through them with nothing but his fists. The clash shakes the academy, shocking onlookers who can hardly process how a boy with no magic is keeping up with such a monster. Sel grows irritated, realizing MASH is no ordinary opponent. The battle pushes on until Sel unleashes his spell mirror, a tool that reflects magic. But MASH simply smashes it apart with a rock, proving again that his strength doesn't rely on spells. Frustrated and intrigued, Sel introduces himself as an agent of Innocent Zero before retreating.
leaving a chilling warning of greater battles to come. With the immediate danger gone, Adler Dorm breathes a sigh of relief. Mosh returns to his friends, met with laughter and relief, a cream puff back in his hand. Though the shadow of Innocent Zero looms ever larger, Mosh's determination has made one thing clear. In a world ruled by magic, his fists alone are enough to shake the future.